Welcome to Modern Manipulation. I wanted to start out by saying thank you for joining us. Today we're going to talk about manipulative trends in businesses and organizations that create rules that self-perpetuate themselves and put the burden of existence on others. Sometimes a problem or manipulation tactic is not chosen or created by any one singular person, but rather is a result of multiple factors or people. Private equity increasingly invests in mobile home parks because despite some tenants sometimes owning the mobile homes, usually the tenants never own the land they are on, and since moving such homes is cost prohibitive, the lot rents can perpetually increase to simultaneously keep people paying rent and keep them from gaining equity there or somewhere else. They are trapped in a rent cycle. Private equity increasingly is owning public utilities because even with government regulators, it's a captive market that traps a homeowner needing electricity and water and feeds return on investment beyond inflation. Engineers and manufacturers used planned obsolescence to keep parts and revenues coming back in timed and repeatable intervals, some worse than others. The IRS enforces a complicated tax code made by representatives in the government because navigating taxes on income and handling rejected returns due to purposeful complexity helps finance the CPAs and tax filing industry. If taxes were simple, the industry of those people doing those jobs wouldn't exist, or they wouldn't make as much money as they do and have been. Zoning requirements creates a rubber stamping system that feeds the industry of engineers, architects, and inspectors and licensed contractors. But what is built in the field or checked by inspectors is not always enforced and is more of a game of who is paying who in practice. Homeowners get strict enforcement and punishment, while faulty contractors get passes in the field. Private healthcare companies lobby against subsidized government care that would cut into their profit margins while using bureaucratic and time-consuming deny, delay, defend tactics to guarantee profits on the backs of denied and delayed healthcare. The apprenticeship system of plumbers in Texas is not so much about education, but rather making people wait longer to obtain a master plumbing license and get more renewal fees every year from members in the system. It takes 4 years to be a journeyman plumber in Texas, and then you must wait another 4 years before you can even test to be a master plumber in Texas. Some might argue that it's about maintaining the quality of master plumbers, but at what point are these testing systems just maintaining a labor pool of plumbers who are not masters and asking for their renewal fees? And yet their license does not reciprocate with many other states in the U.S. and is never equivalent to any college degree type line of work. So the plumbing work they do and the years they spend in that plumbing regulatory system ends up encouraging them to remain in the field of work and in the state they live in, and discourages movement to other states or other careers to make a living. Other states have their own licensing rules and regulations for trades like plumbing, and while most states are different in plumbing training requirements, one of the companies that regulates several states' different testing procedures is called PSI. PSI basically perpetuates its own existence by being the only game in town, no accountability or competition for improvement, requiring original signed and complex forms instead of colored copies that they keep no records of after 90 days of being submitted, staff that don't know or understand their own forms, and a private industry of businesses that cater to dealing with PSI and continuing education requirements because PSI is so incompetent and difficult to work with. People pay other private companies just to deal with PSI on their behalf. If PSI was better and simpler and more efficient, it would make less money than those other private companies would have less work to do and less money to make while helping captive trade apprentices navigate the licensing process and the money it costs to do so. Sometimes a need is created by the cause of the problem, rather than creating a system that fixes a solution. That's modern manipulation.